Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a very simple and very cheap one wide player elevator in your world. This thing is honestly pretty awesome and has a lot of great features to it. For instance, it is really fast, going all the way down from the bottom of the world all the way to build height. It takes about 17 seconds. You also don't take any damage in survival mode. It's a completely reliable elevator, super simple to build and very cheap as well. There's really not any cons with this elevator. It's just like an awesome one wide elevator for your world. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this Bedrock Edition tutorial. So let's try out this elevator ourselves in survival mode. We're basically just going to come stand on this slime block right here, press the button, and we will quickly be elevated all the way up to the very top and pushed onto our main floor by this piston. So you don't need to get out of any minecarts, you don't need to stand off any platforms or press any buttons or anything like that. You're just already on your main floor and you can go do whatever business you're there to do. And then once you want to get back down, you can just hop back down, hold your jump button, you will bounce and then basically stop and you won't take any damage at all. It's a really smooth and seamless little elevator process and I really like it actually. It's actually like one of my new favorite elevators. It's pretty cool. So you can actually use this elevator with other types of mobs in the game as well, such as our little friend right here. As you can see, he gets elevated up just fine, pushed over to the top, and then because he's an idiot, he's just gonna jump off and die. But what can you expect from a creeper? So yeah, this will pretty much work with any mob in the game. Some mobs you might need to get into a minecart, but other than that, it's a pretty seamless working elevator. So the build that you see before you here is completely bare bones in that there are no additional blocks that it does not need, but you could go ahead and add, sides to it or put a casing around it to actually make it look better or anything like that you want. You just got to be careful of the slime blocks, but that is pretty straightforward. So you do need these pieces of glazed terracotta right here. If you do not have these, then you'll actually get launched out to the side or the front of this machine, but that's not that big of a deal. Just by putting 2 pieces of glazed terracotta or 2 pieces of obsidian right there, the machine actually works perfectly fine and perfectly reliable as well. So I see that as a pretty small sacrifice, especially because you're likely going to be encasing the entire elevator shaft right here as well. So it's a pretty small thing to mention, but that is pretty much the con of this system. Now, because I'm kind of crazy, I built one of these elevators all the way up to build height from the bottom of the world, so we may as well go ahead and try this out real quick. Let's just go into survival mode, press the button, and we will see that this thing is just so extremely quick. So it actually only takes about 17 3/4 of a second. We might as well just call it 18 seconds to get all the way from the bottom of the world all the way to the top. As you can see from the upper left of the screen, we are already at Y240 something, and that is actually our stop. So as you can see, we're at the top of my pretty messed up redstone testing world, and it honestly looks pretty cool up here, I will say, but it's also kind of sad as well. And actually, in case you're wondering why I don't really record in void worlds, this is why, because custom superflats always get ruined on Bedrock, but that is kind of beside the point. As you can see, this elevator works super well. So let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? There's going to be a full materials list for this build down in the description of the video as per usual. And what you'll need area-wise to actually build this is going to be just a 6 long area that is 1 block wide. I cleared out a little bit of extra room to the sides just so that we can actually build this a little bit easier and see what we are doing. So you're going to need to go down 2 blocks into the ground because this block right here is going to be the actual block that you stand on to get shot up into your elevator. So plan accordingly. So before you actually begin building your elevator, you want to do a little bit of research on where you're actually building and making sure that you're not going to build it on any chunk borders. So right now I have a resource pack that actually shows the chunk borders of the world in blue and red lines, and as you can see, there's a chunk border going right in between this thing in the worst possible place, right where the actual pistons and stuff get moved over. So they're getting moved over into a different chunk, the timings are getting messed up, and the update orders are getting all kinds of off. So yeah, don't build this on a chunk border like I have here. But I'm glad that this happened to me, because now I can tell you guys to avoid building on chunk borders, and hopefully this machine will be a lot more reliable for you guys in your worlds. Alright, so what you want to do first is go ahead and place a piece of obsidian up into the diagonal of your slime block. This could be glazed terracotta if you feel like it, however, obsidian is probably easier to get. Go ahead and place a normal block above that with a button of your choice on the front of it. Come down below and place an observer facing upwards next to that piece of obsidian. While we're down here, we want to place a block underneath that observer and a block next to that sticky piston with one piece of redstone dust right underneath that block. And now go ahead and place a repeater on top of that observer, one block right here, and a repeater on 4 ticks, just like so. Swing around the backside now and place a solid block right in front of that repeater, redstone torch on top of it, another block, and another redstone torch right there. We will get back to that in just a second. We need to now finish building up the front side of the elevator and the actual pushy bit that launches you upwards. So we need one more solid block right on top of this one with your button, and then place an observer facing downwards, sticky piston above that, slime block above that, and then one piece of obsidian to top it off. So that should be the final look of the front of your elevator. Something you should know about slime blocks is they can only launch the player 6 blocks into the air. So if you count this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 blocks. So make sure you always have 6 blocks of space before your next piece of obsidian. That way you know you're building this thing properly. And now it's time to wire up the front of your elevator. So go ahead and place a temporary block right there with a sticky piston facing forward, and then another temporary block above it, another sticky piston at the same level as your slime block. Go ahead and put a single block right here and run redstone dust on top of both of those with one more solid block right above that redstone torch. And now what you need to do is get some glazed terracotta at the same layer as your slime block and your piece of obsidian as well. Of course, this can also be obsidian or whatever works for you, as long as it is immovable, basically. So now we can go ahead and stand on here, press the button, and we'll get launched up twice, as you can see. And that is the entire lower layer of our elevator. From here on upwards, everything is going to be a little bit different. So the next layer is going to be extremely easy to build. You just want to go above this piece of obsidian right here with 2 normal blocks, an observer facing downwards, a sticky piston facing upwards, a slime block, and finally 1 piece of obsidian. So basically the same as the layer below. And now we want to continue up our torch towers. So put 1 torch right there, block above it, torch on the side of that block above that, a redstone torch right there, another block above that, and 1 more redstone torch, and we can go ahead and put 1 block above that as well. So now we want a temporary block and a sticky piston at the same level as our observer, temporary block right there, sticky piston at the same level as our slime block, place a block on the side of that torch, and then 2 pieces of redstone dust, and that is it, completely done. So also go ahead and put your pieces of terracotta in front of your slime block and your obsidian as well, and we can actually test out this thing. Press the button and we get shot up all the way to the very top layer. As you can see, this thing works perfectly. So what I just showed you how to build in the last clip is exactly how you build up every single layer from here on out, literally all the way to build limit. It does not change at all. Only the bottom layer is different because of our input button. But every single layer from here on out is going to be exactly the same, so we may as well go ahead and build that one more time on camera, just so you guys know exactly how this works. So 2 solid blocks, observer facing downwards, sticky piston facing upwards, a slime block, 1 piece of obsidian, and then we're going to extend our torch tower with a torch, a block, torch on the side, block above it, redstone torch right there, block above that, another redstone torch, and then place a block above that right there as well. Get yourself a temporary block, and then a sticky piston at the same level as your observer. Words are hard. I'll put another temporary block right there with a sticky piston, same level as your slime block. Another block right there by your torch. 2 pieces of redstone dust, and that is your layer done once again, minus your pieces of terracotta. Again, we can try that out, and we will get launched up to the very top layer. So that is the build process for every single layer of your elevator here on up. So go ahead and extend this to the maximum height that you want to, and then we can actually install the little piston, that pushes you off to your top floor. Alright, so this is the actual top of our elevator right here, and this is the actual floor that you're going to be getting elevated to. And again, your elevator is actually going to drop you off on this block right here, so that is pretty nice. And to finish this up, you basically just want to go ahead and place a redstone torch right there, a block above it, redstone torch on the side, and then just 2 more blocks like so. And we're just going to have a repeater right there going into a normal piston. That's what's going to push you over onto that block. And then of course you're also going to need a ceiling, so either place it like a block right there for a 2 tall ceiling, or just a block above it for a nice 3 tall ceiling. So I actually right now just figured out that I built this thing on a chunk border, which is why I went back to before the tutorial and told you guys to not build it on a chunk border. As you can see, sometimes it is reliable, but sometimes it also is not reliable. I don't think there's really anything I can do to change the design to actually make it fully reliable regardless of chunk borders. You would probably need an entirely different elevator concept to fight the chunk borders. As you can see, sometimes it is unreliable, just kind of absorbs you, so it's pretty unfortunate. Anyway, this is still a great elevator design. You just have to be really sure that you do not build it on a chunk border and it will work just fine. It's always pretty unfortunate when you're in the middle of recording a tutorial and you find some fatal flaw that the game just throws at you that you can't really fix, but as long as you don't build it on any chunk borders, this elevator will work just fine for you guys in your worlds. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this build, then of course hit me up in the comment section down below. Always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. If you're new to the channel, maybe subscribe so you don't miss the next tutorial that I upload, and hopefully it won't have any chunk border issues like this one. It just aches at me, like I can't do anything to fix it. It's really annoying. But again, thank you all very much for watching. Please do leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Helps out the video and the channel significantly. And thank you very much for doing so. I will see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.